Hello and welcome to the program. The Rethink Investment Forum, which took place in Mariupol in the Donetsk region, wrapped up this week. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and more than 50 representatives of different organizations, as well as business leaders, took part in the forum. In total, Ukraine expects to attract up to $15 billion of international investment in the coming 5 years. Joining us in the studio to talk more about the forum is Michael Yurkovich. He's a Canadian business leader, entrepreneur, and investment banker. He's also the Chief Executive Officer of TIU Canada. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell us a bit about your impressions from the forum in Mariupol.
Yeah, sure. It was very well attended. There was over 250 delegates from a lot of the banks, a lot of the banking community in America and in Europe. We had the EBRD come. There was many companies that came from the international manufacturing community, and it was a success. A lot of deals were announced. There was one in telecommunications announced. There was 2 water treatment deals announced. And so we were very happy to be a part of it, both as a sponsor and a speaker. It was very good to show people Mariupol is a good place to invest and that Mariupol and all of Ukraine is open for business.
Right, and the Ukrainian president, he invited you to speak at the forum. Tell us a bit about what you told the people at the forum.
Sure. So the Ukraine is at an inflection point. Since 2013, Ukraine Invest and the government of Ukraine had worked really hard to promote Ukraine as an investment destination. Because of the success of the biotech and the tech sector and the renewables sector, everybody really saw a good opportunity for stable, safe investment returns post-2014. The message that I shared with the people at the forum was, having been here since 2014, we're finally starting to see major investors like Amazon, like the big investment companies, start to do commercial investment deals. And this is a very special moment for Ukraine. I believe that in the next 3 years, we will see very big economic growth. And we're almost at the point where major companies can come into Ukraine to start to build very good factories and a lot of jobs. And as a renewables executive, we're very excited to continue to invest money into Ukraine because we believe Ukraine is one of the great growth markets in the current economy.
So you also spoke about the success of TIU Canada, the renewable energy company. You opened its first solar power plant was opened in 2017 in Yurkovich, and then there's been another one commissioned in Mykolaiv. So how do you measure success of these 2 ventures in Ukraine?
Sure. So for us, the successful venture metrics were: could we build it on time and on budget? And could we work with local stakeholders? In 2017, we had 10 megawatts under management. Going into 2019, we're a little under 65, going on 85. And so for us, the ability to build a successful company in Ukraine, work with local engineering talent, hire local people, invest into our local communities, that's been our key metrics of success. For us, one of those metrics was being able to execute the engineering. The next one was our corporate social responsibility program. Since we've came into the country, we've done 3 charity initiatives, 1 sponsoring veterans and orphan families, 1 supporting breast cancer research, and 1 in terms of investing in Ukrainian education as a part of our CSR corporate social initiatives. In the concept of economics, we're very happy with our investments, the amount of return, as well as the quality of engineering done by the locals on our program.
And you just mentioned a few of your social projects where you do some community outreach, where you help, as you mentioned, veterans and orphans. So how important is that in terms of a corporate structure? Is that something that you hope to lead as an example for other Western companies looking to invest in Ukraine as well, that this is a very important element to give back to the community?
We believe that definitely is the case. If you look The Zelensky administration has said that CSR is very important. And at TIU, we believe that investing into the local communities, particularly in eastern Ukraine, where there is a big, important need for helping out in school programs, helping out in development programs, and really encouraging people to be a part of their community is something that we pride ourselves on being a part of. And we really enjoy being welcomed into the communities when we invest our money and our time into these social structures.
Do you ever see TIU Canada branching out into other parts of eastern Ukraine, maybe regions that have been affected by Russia's war in Ukraine? Do you, because from what I understand, it was one of the main sort of topics that was discussed at the forum in Mariupol, how to rebuild, how to make that region popular again, how to make it more investment friendly, how to attract investment to that region. Do you ever see TIU Canada potentially investing big in that region?
We'd have to see on a case-by-case basis. We are looking at a few investment ideas that were presented to us at the Mariupol Forum. Right now, we're really focused on executing on our green energy portfolio. But once we have an understanding about where the green energy industry is going, then we'll definitely be looking at all areas of Ukraine. We believe that Ukraine right now really has the opportunity to shape perception and to show the world Ukraine's potential. Everyone's looking at Ukraine because of the Trump-Zelensky scandal in America. But as
certainly
we saw,
not a positive side.
Well, there's no such thing as bad news. And now that everybody knows Ukraine is here, Ukraine has the ability to shape the message. And the message that we believe is being conveyed is that Ukraine is a positive sphere of influence. Ukraine has done an incredible amount of good since 2014 in both developing an economy, rebuilding itself, successfully navigating through the crisis. And as somebody who's been on the ground, we believe that the initiatives on trying to rebuild Donbass and Donetsk, working on changing the perception of Mariupol, trying to encourage foreign direct investment into Ukraine are all very exciting things that we can get behind.
How lucrative is the investment environment for renewable energy in Ukraine, in your opinion?
Sure. So for Ukraine, it's on a case-by-case basis. For us, a lot of the projects that we look at have a minimum economic return hurdle, and that's commensurate with the risk. So in Ukraine, there is still a high degree of risk, and so in order to measure that risk, you have to quantify the upside return. Oftentimes, when you're looking at countries, you have to see what are the financial incentives, what is the economy back support to building, and what is the development nature of the risk taken. So in Ukraine, the development risk commensurates fairly high, and there is a very extreme amount of risk related to financial availability and access to capital markets. And so because of that, if you look on an apples-to-apples comparison, Ukraine is right now in line with other emerging markets for risk and return. Any changes to the market perception will reverberate. And so that's where we believe that right now our projects are accretive when compared to other jurisdictions, and it's compelling. And we strongly encourage more people to look at why Ukraine is a great place to invest based upon the track record of success companies like TIU Canada, Scatic, other green energy companies had in building things on time, on budget, with local engineering, with local content. And that narrative was both shared at Mariupol with foreign investors, as well as what we have been talking about for 2 years now.
Right, and so at the forum as well, you mentioned that building a successful company based on Canadian standards is very much possible in Ukraine. Yeah. So since your time here, and since building investing and building that first solar power plant back in 2017, what lessons have you learned in that time and working alongside Ukrainian companies, and what would you have done differently, perhaps?
Sure. So for us, we believe that Ukraine was a great partner and remains a good partner in terms of adopting social safety and workplace standards. For us, it was very important to make sure that the people on site were safe and to make sure that all of the standards for electrical safety, line testing, and quality control were adhered to. On the other side, we were very impressed with how the banks and the banking standards in the country have evolved in the last 3 years since Basel III was adopted by the National Bank of Ukraine. We were very happy that all of our projects were successfully able to start up and develop. The things that we learned were that we definitely should monitor for ground governance, and that we should continue to encourage people that, social contract as well as the rule of law remains transparent and accountable. And we believe that because Ukraine is committed at moving forward, European integrating, and having a very good track record of success to share with the world, we're really excited to continue to invest in Ukraine.
I think that's a good note to leave it on. Thank you very much for joining me today in the studio.
Thank you.
That was Michael Yurkovich, Chief Executive Officer of TIU Canada. You're watching UATV.